What's up, friends? My name is Erik Hatch. Hatch Realty and Hatch Coaching are the companies I get to represent. I put my name on everything because I'm not very clever. Nonetheless, I am thrilled to be with you today. Some of you are watching live. Some of you are watching a recording of this on our YouTube channel, but nonetheless, this is pretty awesome. We're talking about a topic that's coming out of pain, really seeking out gain, but it's coming out of pain. And I'll tell you this, so many people are either running from something or running towards something, right? Think about when you quit a job, when you left a job. You maybe left because you hated what you were doing and you were running from it, or you were running towards something that appeared so opportunistic. Like right now, I'm in pursuance of somebody to be our next marketing manager, and she's super happy where she's at. She's not running from anything, but she's running towards something. And for me, I think that's a greater sign of success is what you're running towards. That's something that's going to be longer lasting. Otherwise, if you're running from something, that next thing might be a rebound. So I say all that because what we're talking about today is we're talking about how so many of us are losing our lives to real estate. It's a real deal. And there has to be a better way. There has to be something that we can do in order to maturate all this that's going on. So if you're watching live and you have questions, put them in the chat box or in the Q&A session, and we will certainly rock and roll from there. If you're watching the recording, go ahead and put any of inquiries that you have down in the comment section, and we will respond as quickly as I remember to. With that, here we go. We're losing our lives to real estate. And I'll say this is I think we're all in the pursuance of wealth. If you're taking notes, this is one of my favorite things to note is what wealth actually is. I think there is a misconception on what wealth is. Wealth is an abundance. It's having enough riches. Yes, it's having enough money, it's having enough resources. I think that those all play into this. But I know so many people that have an abundance of riches. They have a lot of money, but they're still pretty miserable. Ugh. I've been that person before and it sucks. So wealth is three things. We're going to talk about those three. The first is wealth is an abundance of resources. Money would be one of those. And I think that an abundance is different for all of us, right? If you're used to having a lifestyle that costs you $10,000 a month, having $11,000 a month is not an abundance. But if you're used to having in a life of $3,000 or $4,000 a month to support your lifestyle, and you have 11,000, you have a ton of abundance. And so understand that abundance for all of us is a different perspective. I think we all perceive it with a little bit of a different nuance. So wealth, three things. Number one is riches, an abundance of that. Number two is an abundance of culture surrounded by the right people. Okay, culture is probably the way in which I'd identify it if you're looking for like that one word thing. Number two is an abundance of culture. But culture is going to be the right people serving an aligned purpose. Let me say that one more time. Culture is an abundance of the right people serving an aligned purpose. Now look around. If you're on a real estate team or you're working at a brokerage and you hate all those people that you work with, they're just a bunch of douche nuggets, you're going to be pretty miserable. Even if you have all the money in the world, and if you hate who you're around, or if you don't have purpose with what you're doing, if you don't love those folks that are your team members, it's all for nothing, isn't it? Now let's look at a variation of this because this is a really important nuance. I'm also talking about your family and your friends. I'm not just talking about your time at work. You can have great team members at work, but if you go home and you are filled with loneliness, and maybe you're married, maybe you're not, but either way, you can still feel lonely. If you have a tough, broken relationship with your kids, or if you don't have any friendships outside of the industry, that sucks. I don't think you're going to have a feeling of being wealthy if you don't have the right relationships and the right people. Remember, culture is the right people aligned with a similar purpose. Heck, you might even have the right spouse, but if you two are driving in different directions, it's not much of a ride that's worth going on. So wealth is an abundance of these three things: your riches, your culture. Number three is your time. This is the core of what we're talking about today. we're losing our life to real estate or whatever industry you may be. And I think this is going to be helpable for anyone in any industry. However, I'm going to use real estate terms because that's simply the world that I live in. And I believe that so many of us are dirt poor. We may have an abundance of wealth. We might even have the right people in our lives, but we don't have any time whatsoever. This may be a time for you to like raise your hand like you're in an AA meeting and say, that's me. Like, that's my guilt, that's my shame, that's my sin, that's where you're falling short, is that you don't have enough time in your world. If you have all the money in the world and all the right people in the world, but no time, that's a crappy life. If you have all the right money in the world and all the right time, but no people to share it with, it's a crappy life. And if you have all the time in the world and all the people in the world, but no money, I actually think you're still okay. Now, we are capitalists by nature. We work in an industry, certainly in real estate, that is commission driven and commission focused. We have bills to pay. We don't know when our next paycheck's going to come until we sell that house. Like, money is a driving force in our ecosystem. But I would challenge you to say this, that money is like oxygen. You need it to breathe. You need it to function in your business, but it's not the purpose of what we do. Just like oxygen is not the purpose of how we live. The purpose of life is not breathing. The purpose of life is serving and doing and experimenting and connecting and growing in relationships. And right now, your business may be parched for that. I'm trying to hit home this serious problem that we're facing, that so many of us are working more than we ever have, and we're losing our time. We're losing our relationships, and we frankly don't know what to do with that. This is not like a minor problem. This is the biggest problem that we're facing. The fact that this is something that's recorded, I'm happy about, because this is something that people will need to watch and hopefully digest and refresh every month or two. I hope it's something that you're going to come back to time and time again. And I want to say this. Number one, again, if you're taking notes, this is number one for the big list that I'm hoping to provide. Money isn't worth it. I want you to sit on that for just a moment, and maybe you'll write that down. Number one, money isn't worth it. If it's going to cost you your time and it's going to cost you your health, it's going to cost you your relationships, money is not the most important thing. Money is like oxygen. You need enough to breathe, but it's not the purpose of what we do. If you're in pursuance of a ton of money, but you're losing those other things, so be it. So I want that's number one. But then I also want you to put number one, and then this would be a little subsection for this. Everything has a season. Let's go back. It was 2000 and let's see, I got into real estate full-time 2011. And so in 2011, I was now working a ton of hours. I didn't have a team. I sold 52 houses my first year, all for my sphere. And it was just like this overwhelming hustle. And I knew the mistakes I had made in my previous life, right? I had made some big financial blunders that I had to get myself out of. And then my wife and I were battling infertility. And the only way we could fund being parents is if I went and made enough money. See, I was both running from something and running towards something. I was running from that pain of the financial blunders I had made, all the debt I had accrued, and I was running towards being a dad. Either way, I'm going to run faster if I'm running from or towards instead of if I'm just jogging. Like, I had vision and I had purpose. And so I worked 2011, 12, and 13 in real estate, probably 80 to 110 hours a week, just depending on the week. It was a constant go. And in that season, that was a long season, by the way, 3 years is a very long season. I had to get the buy-in from the person and people that are most important to me. And the person that's most important to me is my wife, Emily. She's a first grade teacher and this unbelievable soul. And if I wanted to get buy-in from her, I had to talk and declare the season. And not for me to tell her, Emily, in this season, here's what's going to happen. I had to say, are we willing to commit to this? Because this is a we. This is always a we. If you are not speaking to your loved ones in a we kind of format, I think that you are making a mistake. It's not your money or my money, it's our money. It's a we, it's an us. You have to move together. And we knew that for a season, and that season lasted 3 years until God gifted us with our first kid, Finley. In that season, I worked 80 to 110 hours a week because it was what I was committed to, and my wife was committed to it also. And so if you're losing your life to real estate, I would challenge you to look inward to say, have you really declared the season that you're in? And has your spouse or have your loved ones, have your relationships agreed with you and said, yes, we understand and we fully support you? See, without clarity and without a big why, without identifying your purpose and understanding what you're doing and why you're doing it, it's all a moot point. Now, I want to share with you, I want to pull back the curtain just a little bit. I have a new coaching client. We've had literally one call. We do an exploratory call when somebody wants to coach with me. And then we started in April. Her next call is, I think, tomorrow. She is on paper one of the most successful people I've ever coached. She's making more money, leading more people, and having this unbelievable career. We're talking to the tune of making millions of dollars each year. And on my first coaching call with her, after about 3 minutes, I said, hey, you doing okay? That's one simple question. I said, hey, you doing okay? And then it was met with emotion and shame and exhaustion and tears and sadness and guilt and all these other things for the remaining 57 minutes of our call. This was one of the heavier calls I've ever done. And the problem was she was pursuing riches, but she was losing her time. She didn't have any of that. And she was losing her relationships. Like, she loved the people she worked with, but she wasn't spending near enough time with her kids. And her kids are young and formidable. And there was mom guilt to the nth degree. And so I want to walk through with you all what I walked through with her. So number one, we already talked about. Number two, this is stolen from I think the Bold class that I took when I used to be at Keller Williams, but it's something that sings so true, is that if it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist. So number two is, if it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist. See, I am a slave to my calendar, and I'm a slave to those things that I put on there. And for most of you, one of the problems is not that you need more time in the day. You simply need more discipline with what you're saying you're going to do, right? That's a true statement for almost everybody that's going to watch this, is that you have enough time in the day. You just need more discipline to put the right things on your calendar and to actually honor with pure focus what's on your calendar. This stupid thing, this stupid phone that gets us distracted and detracted, and it has the way for us, because my guess is if you're watching this right now, you're not just watching me. You're checking emails that come in, you are texting a couple of people, you're going through some paperwork. This may be background noise for you. If that's you right now, raise your hand. You can raise your hand on that little toolbar. If that's you and you're doing more than just paying attention right now, raise your hand. I see some hands going up. Jim, Amanda, thanks for being honest with that. It is the truth. Blair, Jordan, yeah. This is what we're doing with our entire lives, gang. Thanks for your honesty and transparency there. This is what we're doing with our entire business and our entire lives, is that we are watching and doing so many different things, and we wonder why we're exhausted at the end of the day. We're wondering why we don't have enough time, and we're looking around to say, I just need more time in the day. And I'm going to say that's bull crap. You don't need more time in your day. You need more discipline in your day. You don't magically need more hours. You need to put away all those other distractions, because that text message that comes in right now, that can wait for 40 minutes until we're done with this. I don't even know if we're going to go that long, but that can wait 30 or 40 minutes. It can. There is no fire that's happening right now. Instead, what is the one thing you're focusing on? How can you not do 12 things at once and just do one thing with 12 minutes of intensity? See, to my coaching client that I shared with you, she has a disciplined schedule and a disciplined life, but she had the wrong disciplines on there. So I want you to draw out a pyramid. Please take some notes and draw out a pyramid. This shows up in my book. Here is a very cheesy plug. This book, Play for the Person Next to You, will even send you a discount for those of you that are watching live on this. If this is something you want to pick up, we'll send you my book info. Better make a note that we're going to do that. And in there, I talk about this pyramid of priorities. Okay, this pyramid of priorities is going to have 4 sections. So you'll draw 3 horizontal lines across that pyramid. And we're going to start at the bottom. The things that are at the bottom of the pyramid are the most important. My coaching client didn't have her pyramid of priorities in order, and she didn't know what to put on her schedule. Because problem number 1 with your schedule is you don't have the discipline to actually just do the thing that's on the schedule. Like, how did Bill Gates build Microsoft, right? How did Beyonce become B-Town? Like, how did she become so successful? It's not because she was busy practicing her vocals and her dance moves while checking text messages and scrolling through Facebook. Bill Gates locked himself in a damn closet and said, I'm going to program until I'm blue in the face. Nothing else matters. The thing that's on my schedule is the most important thing. And that's the problem for so many of us, is that we don't actually honor the time blocks that are on our schedule. But the second subsection to this is I want to make sure that you get the right things on your schedule in the first place. And so in this pyramid of priorities at the base, the bottom section will be 3 things. It is God, family, and self. For a lot of us, a relationship with our Creator matters quite a bit. And yet it's something that we do on occasion. I don't go to church anymore any less than the average Joe, but I can tell you that my constant walk with my faith is something that intertwines all of my things. It is a mindset. It is a belief. It is an attitude of gratitude. It is rolling with some humility. It's trying to be a servant. Those are all part of my foundation. And so it's not something that I have to time block for. It's something that I have to absorb as a lifestyle. And for so many of us, we're missing that lifestyle. And I want to tell you, we're going to talk about this pyramid, but when I got into real estate full-time in 2011, I came from a world of being in ministry. I spent 10 years of my life pouring into other people as a minister. And when I got into real estate, I thought I had to abandon being a servant to other people because I thought I was now self-serving. And I was miserable. The more I tried to take care of myself, the deeper into misery I became. In fact, there's an analogy in my book that talks about how we're designed to serve other people. And it's something that it's when we do so, we go farther, we go higher, we do more, we find more success. That is the secret to all this. And so on the base of the pyramid, the first thing I'm going to put is God. And that can mean for each of you, whatever that means for each of you. The second is family. And family is of course, the loved ones that you have. I'm going to put some friendships in that for you too. How many of you have lost almost all your friends because of real estate? I was desperate for friends, and I recognized, oh crap, I really messed up. All my relationships are tied to transactions. My best friend was my mortgage guy and my team member and my insurance agent and my inspector and 4 other people on my team. And like, we just talked about real estate and we talked about work. And sometimes we go home and we talk to our loved ones about real estate and work, and that's all we talk about. Like, there's more to life than what we're doing. And you got to get your pyramid of priorities in order. I formed a friend group that we meet and do breakfast once a Friday. Every Friday, 7 a.m., we're at this crappy hole in the wall place in Fargo. It's like my favorite hour of the week because it's a group of 5 to 10 of us, and we just rip on each other. We don't sell anything. We don't have anything to gain from the relationships. I just envied those guys in their 70s who are sitting at Perkins all day, telling old stories and laughing. I'm like, oh, I really want that. And I looked around and I said, I'm not doing anything to get that. And so I had to schedule it, because if it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist. And so I scheduled friend time. I scheduled time to connect with them. And now all of a sudden, we've been doing this for 5+ years. And these are some of my closest friends, and they're not tied to my business. In fact, if they were tied to my business, I didn't invite them. No way, no how. These were people who I wanted to be in relationship with. It's rekindling some old friendships and starting some new ones. It's the best thing I've done with my friendships, maybe ever. The base of the pyramid is God, family, and then self. Your self-care matters more than anything else. And my guess is your self-care is an afterthought. You're waiting until you see if you have enough energy left in the tank at the end of the day to actually make yourself a priority. I've never been at the end of a workday after grinding for 10 or 12 hours and dealing with all the emotional stuff that we deal with. And I've been like, you know what? I could really go for a salad right now and then like a long ride on my bike. That just doesn't come. So maybe some of you are weird like that and that comes to you, but that does not come to me. I think, man, I could order a pizza and have some beer and sit around and watch TV. I can't be the only one. I mean, maybe I am, but I don't think I'm the only one. And so I recognize like, ooh, Erik, you got to do better with your self-care. For the last 4 months, I've been waking up at 4:44 in the morning. I go to the gym. I work out for 90 minutes. I eat a healthy breakfast. I still take care of my family. I had to find extra time for my self-care. It means I have to go to bed earlier if I'm getting up at 4:44. I had to say no to some other things that I thought were important. But if I keep my pyramid in order, the things that matter the most are God, family, and self. And I am tired of giving my family, my God, and myself my leftovers. And because of that, my schedule has to dictate what's most important. And then I have to honor the things that are on my schedule with laser focus and laser discipline, because so many of us sit at home and we say it's our family time and we're texting and we're emailing and we're scrolling through social media and we're talking to clients and we say it's super important. And that's a bunch of crap, because what you say and what you do are two very different things. If you want to be in line with who you're supposed to be, actually do what you say you're going to do. Schedule out from 5:30 till 7. This is time that's dedicated family time. Your family doesn't need all your time. They need all your focus when you are paying attention to them. So do you in your self-care. And so what I'm telling you is this: schedule maybe 5:30 to 7 every night. Your phone is in a different room. Set your voicemail to it, tell your clients, teach your team members, teach these people that your family and your self-care and your faith come first. They will find more respect for you than less respect. Trust me, I've seen it 1,000 times over. It's the base of the pyramid. Next step up on the pyramid is after God, family, and self, the next level up are your team members. If you don't have team members, you can just fall asleep for the next 4 minutes. But if you do have team members, and I'm not saying that you have to be the rainmaker and the person on top, I'm instead saying like if you have any team members that you're tending to and caring to, they have to be a higher priority than your clients. By the way, that's number 3, your clients. And number 4 is community. We're going to spend less and less time as we go on these, but I want to make sure you understand the iteration here. Your team members should be getting focused, dedicated one-on-one time, training time, development time, time in which you're showing up both in the scheduled and the sporadic. See, if you're boasting that you have this great open door policy and that people can come to you at any time, but you're just waiting for people to come to you, you have to understand that that's reliant on their courage and their confidence to actually come to you. And the greatest leaders go out of their door. That open door policy is for you to go out and connect with people so that you can meet them where they're at. You don't just wait for your scheduled one-on-one to make a connection. You also have sporadic time in which you're growing in relationship. That's the random coffee dates and the occasional happy hours and the pop buys at the office. These are the things that you should be doing with massive intention and honoring that time block. I see it all the time where people say, let's say Scott, who's watching right now, let's say Scott is one of my team members. And I have a scheduled one-on-one with Scott, but I cancel it from time to time because I have some client things that are coming up, or I have just some bad scheduling in my day. What I'm telling Scott unintentionally is, Scott, you're not that important to me. My clients matter more than you do. And Scott's going to be a flight risk. Scott's going to be not happy. And the solvency for almost all your problems, please write this down. The solvency for almost all your problems is proximity. That means you getting closer to and spending more time with. Now, I know what y'all are thinking right now. Erik, I don't have enough time in my day. What am I to do? I don't know what to do. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough energy. I have all these other pressures and these things that are taking me and spreading me thin. I know you're saying that right now. Most of you are saying that. But in the beginning, we talked about what wealth is. And the one that is the easiest to bounce back from and the one that is easiest to figure out is the wealth piece, or excuse me, the richest piece. The time piece is hard to control. The culture piece with the right people and the right purpose, that's hard to control. The money piece, I think we're focused on too much. You got to have enough to breathe. Everything is in a season, so there are maybe seasons with this, but if you're going to honor your team members well, you got to say no to some clients, or you got to train your team members up well enough. Because here's the catch 22 is I want to get out of production, right? That's kind of the dream for a lot of realtors, is that they want to get out of production. And so how do you do that? Well, you have great people that are trained exceedingly well. And once they're trained exceedingly well, then you can trust them with your clients. But how do you trust somebody with your clients when you haven't had the time to train them? Because you're spending all your time with your clients. So which do you give up? What most people do is they say, I know I can go make money on those clients, so that's where I'm going to spend all my time, and that's where I'm going to spend all my energy, and my team members will figure it out. And then once they figure it out, I'll hand off that business to them. And it doesn't work. We're failing because our priorities are out of whack. And if you can say no to some clients, or if you can give some framework, by the way, I think one of the solvencies for a lot of this is the showing partner model. I have some awesome videos that we'll provide links to. I better make a note of that. But we have some awesome videos that we'll provide some links to that will show you how you can start leveraging both leadership and your own personal production at the same time. It is a really great solve for the problems that we have. Now, God, family, self at the base of the pyramid, your team members next, then your clients, and then your community. And your community, just like your faith, when you get really good at it, will intertwine and intercede with all of those relationships. It's pretty awesome. But I think if you have a really healthy pyramid, you have those things in order. We're going to move to number 3 here. This is going to be my final thought. If you have questions, if you have comments, please feel free to shoot them if you're watching live. Otherwise, you can bring those to me at any time, and I'll be doing my best to respond to you. Number 3, what most of you are missing is you're missing a big vision, right? We're losing our life because we're letting the wind take us where we may. We're allowing the pursuance of riches to be the driver instead of the pursuance of a vision. And if you know the life that you want, I'll tell you this. The reason why I got into real estate is because I wanted to be a dad. And my wife had miscarriages and infertility issues. Those were some of the most painful days of our lives. And yet I knew what I was working for every single day. I had a vision that I wanted to have this life where we had an abundance of all the aforementioned wealth pieces. And I knew where I was going, and I knew what I needed to do to get there. A lot of you know what you need to do to get riches, but do you know what you need to do to get the abundance of time and culture? Because those are leadership pieces. They are. That's why I think for most of us, this is a leadership game more than it is any other game possible. We're losing our life to real estate because we are stuck in production. And then there's a season where you need to be stuck in both production and leadership so that you are then only stuck in leadership. And that leadership game doesn't have you chasing things morning, noon, and night. It doesn't have you reliant on 100 people. It has 10 people reliant on you. It is a change. It is a momentum shift. It is an energy refocus. And I will tell you from the fiber of my beings that this is a leadership game. It's not a real estate game. I've been going here for 30 minutes and I have yet to talk about any sort of actual real estate transaction or applicable skill. However, this is a leadership game, and who you're becoming. And who you're becoming will determine the life that you're going to live. So if you're looking at this saying, I'm losing my life to real estate and I don't know how to get my way out, I'm going to declare for you that you are in a season of chaos. You are in that messy middle. In that messy middle, you see who you can be, but you're stuck with being who you need to be for today. And you maybe need to be a producer and a leader. The goal is, if you had the same goals that I did, that is to transition out. Now, for some of you, you maybe don't want to transition out. I actually think that I can help you do that. I think that our showing partner model, I think that our ISA model can allow you to still have a small mini team that's less reliant on leadership, and you can be heavy in production. Some of you are doing that right now and finding unbelievable success. But for some of you, you want out completely. I work in my real estate team 2 days a week. I'm in my coaching company 3 days a week. I'm in my real estate team 2 days a week. I haven't sold a house in 6.5 years. Our team will sell 1,300 transactions this year is what we're pacing for right now. And that's with me doing this 2 days a week. There's hope, okay? There's a chance. I have a coaching client out of South Carolina, and she's intending on traveling with her family for 9 months in an RV. She's a team of 7 people. She wants to leave her business of actively selling and actively leading and instead get on the road for 9 months with her family. And it's happening. I'm watching it happen. She's able to make those moves because this is a leadership journey. This is about how you're equipping and training other people. And for the season, you got to produce, and for the season, you got to lead too. But on the other side of that really hard and intangible work is a life that is so sweet and so fulfilling. Now, you're losing your life today, and it's a matter of, are you willing to sacrifice on some money for today? Because I don't have a magic pill for you. I don't have the do this one thing and all of a sudden you can have your cake and eat it too. You can only eat it, or you can only have your cake, but you can't do both right now because you're in a season of the messy middle. And if you understand that season, and if everybody accepts that season, then you can go ahead and get to work with prioritizing your pyramid and prioritizing your life. When you've done that, now you're afforded yourself the opportunity to move into going after this vision that you so desperately want, the life you want, the time you want. If you don't have a vision, you're just floating. Really. If you don't have a vision, you're just floating. Here's what you need to know and understand. The vision is the engine as well as the compass for where you want to go. And if you want to have a big life with big wealth, an abundance of riches, time, and culture, we can help you get there. Rick has a question here. I appreciate your question, Rick. This is his first introduction to Hatch coaching. What's the best way to understand the services we offer? I'll tell you this. You can see right here, it says redefining how people treat people, and it is the core of our business, Rick. It's what we do, and so we focus on 2 different things. I focus on helping team leaders and salespeople to live their best lives. And so we have a number of things from direct coaching to large group coaching to training modules and video trainings and that sort. We have a lot of layers of things that we do just on my end. My partner, Robbie is the lead conversion expert in all of the United States, maybe even North America. So take that, Canada. Robbie is fantastic at lead conversion and ISA things. And he's helping people to be how they're facing their clients and really helping to increase conversion and increase sales. He has a plethora of products, including bolt-on services within some technology places, within Ylopo and Sierra, and soon to be Chime and Follow Up Boss, doing some huge things in the ecosystem here. All of that can be seen at hatchcoaching.com, or you can always email us there, Rick. Hope that helps. Gang, I have just a couple calls to action here, and then we're going to wrap up. Number 1 is go to our website if you haven't done so yet and check out our Hatch Huddle. We do a once a week kind of live interactive podcast / webinar between Robbie and myself, where we're delivering really high level content and giving people a plethora of actionable takeaways. And so if you're looking for a way to grow and enhance on a regular rhythm, that's a great way for you to do so. So subscribe to Hatch Huddle. I'm going to send you a discount link for our marketplace as well as for my book, so you can save some money there if that's something you want to buy. And then I'll also include for you a couple of links to our showing partner models. I have a new webinar coming up in a few weeks that is like the next level showing partner stuff. So really deep, really insightful, I hope. And with that, gang, we're plumb out of time. Look at that. We went quick today. God bless you. Have a beautiful day, and thanks for tuning in.